Welcome to another episode of Monster Monday from the Ready to Die channel. This series explores the design of a creature I have built for Pathfinder Second Edition. The stat block for this creature can be found over on the Monster Monday blog, as well as the Twitter and Discord, all of which are linked below. This week's Monster Monday features the Akura Vashimu, a slightly more obscure monster resembling a giant scorpion, with crystals growing over its form and a cluster covering its tail. Originally introduced in the Japan-exclusive Monster Hunter Frontier, the Akura Vashimu is also known as the Crystal Tail Scorpion, and is one of the first carapaceans to not resemble a crustacean. With this origin, it can be difficult to determine the strength of the Akura Vashimu, but it is a meal of the Odiba Tarasu, which I've built before, and has been described as fairly weak by somebody on the Monster Monday Discord, who's actually hunted it. This led to me settling on level 10 for the creature, which is built as an animal, while their sheer immensity lends well to making them huge creatures. These are big, brutish beasts that use an extreme strength and a high constitution, as I have several abilities that make them seem rather durable. Mostly their innate immunity to several status effects within Monster Hunter. Their dexterity is only moderate, and their mental capabilities are even lower given their scorpion nature. I used a moderate perception because we don't know much about the hunting practices of the Akura Vashimu outside of them ambushing gen prey. For similar reasons, it uses a moderate stealth, allowing it to hide beneath the sands, and also takes a high athletics, so that it can use its big, crystally claws to clutch captives. Since this big burly beastie has a back like the broadside of a barn, it only uses a moderate armor class, but is compensated with high hit points, as well as some resistance to physical damage. This is, as usual, meant to represent the fact that weapons below a certain sharpness will simply bounce off of a monster. Additionally, the Akura Vashimu is specifically immune to the normal status effects a hunter might afflict, the lore of which I sought to cover with its crystals having unique properties, and then granting it immunity to paralyzed, poison, and sleep, which covers most of the status effects in Monster Hunter. This is another monster that utilizes a high fortitude save, moderate reflex, and then a low will for its saving throws. Maybe it's just because of the source material I typically use, but there's far too many creatures that would naturally have a high fortitude. As a scorpion, the Akura Vashimu has pincers and a stinger, which is instead in this case a geode tail. Both of these attacks utilize a moderate attack bonus. The tail deals high damage, since while it has a longer reach, there's no other features to it, no other traits or abilities. Meanwhile, its pincers deal damage between low and moderate, but have the benefits of both the agile trait and the improved grab ability so that it can snatch up prey with ease. Building off of that is the Savage Sting action, functioning akin to a double slice ability with the most notable difference coming from the remaster. In the remaster, actions such as grab and improved grab will require an athletics check that is exempt from the multiple attack penalty, so this simply allows it to skip that roll. The Akura Vashimu makes use of its crystals in two primary ways. Firstly, there is its crystal spray, which unleashes a high-pressured spray in a line that requires an extreme reflex save. This has no initial damage or degrees of success, leading to the use of this extreme save. A creature hit by it has crystals start growing on them, which make them fatigued and off guard. These two conditions do end up stacking, and this is actually the main reason that the Akura Vashimu uses only a moderate attack bonus. I had initially designed it with a high attack bonus. The fatigue condition though directly references the crystallized condition in Monster Hunter, which depletes the hunter's stamina. These crystals can be removed by making an escape against a high DC, but if heroes do not or cannot escape from them within 2 rounds, they explode and deal limited use area damage at a high DC. After initially using this ability, the Akura Vashimu cannot do so again for 2d4 rounds, because I didn't want it to be able to keep creatures constantly crystallized. I know this means that the Akura Vashimu might only get 1 use of this per combat, but with its ability to snatch up enemies, it has other ways of making them vulnerable. Alternatively, the Akura Vashimu can plant its crystal cluster on the ground, after which its tail needs time to regenerate. After a round, during which its tail grows back, this geode detonates, dealing unlimited use area damage at a high reflex DC. Without the crystals to direct its stream, the Akura Vashimu's crystal spray then becomes a 30-foot cone rather than a line. As a bit of strategy that I think might be fun, the Akura Vashimu can Savage Sting a foe, holding them at range and then laying a geode behind them. The hunter must escape its grip or else it'll be in range for the crystal's explosion. From a design standpoint, the Akura Vashimu uses Reactive Strike in an attempt to discourage enemies from moving past or away from the geode it's laying, allowing it to recoup at least some loss from enemies doing so. But its more unique reaction is Erupt from Beneath, which is based on the Akura Vashimu lying in wait beneath the sand when hunters first approach. As it emerges, shaking the sand from its colossal carapace, it pushes back creatures that accidentally stepped onto its hiding space, forcing them to make a fortitude save at an extreme DC. Failure simply knocks them prone, but has no other effects, which again lends to this particular DC instead of just going for a high or moderate one. While this is mostly intended to be an opening gambit, I could see the Akura Vashimu using this in combat, tunneling away to hide before springing out from the sands to ambush enemies. Oh, I almost forgot. I designed a weapon made from the parts of the Akura Vashimu. The Crystal Cluster Axe is based on the hammer or switch axe created from the Akura Vashimu, using a great axe as its base weapon. Its effect is obviously based off of the Akura Vashimu's own ability to cover creatures in crystals, and has a standard DC for an item of its level. However, the potentially more important effect is its ability to inflict the Fatigued condition, which reduces all saving throws and the creature's AC. This is a fantastic, though short-lived debuff to throw on enemies. I went for a weapon for this creature because while the Akura armor looks cool, none of its skills strike me as particularly distinct. That completes this build for the Akura Vashimu. This crystal-covered carapacian captures and crushes culprits in its claws or coats them in crystals that collapse in a concussive cacophony. This was a fun creature to put together, and I think at least part of that is just because I think scorpions are super cool critters. They're up there on my list of animals. The crystals add a little extra panache to the Akura Vashimu, and it's at a nice place between the smaller scorpions and the gargantuan black scorpion, a level 15 monster. Be sure to let me know what you think of the Akura Vashimu and what other monsters you might like to see in a comment. If you want to see other monsters I've done, or even the stat blocks and other versions of this monster, be sure to check out the Monster Monday blog or Twitter, linked down below. Thanks for watching, and have a monstrous Monday.